Hi guys, my name is Anandu, and I'm doing the entire presentation on behalf of my group, and my group members are Jishnu and Nash. Our topic is non-conventional sources of energy, and I would like to begin with a small introduction to the topic. I would like to start with conventional sources of energy. So, conventional sources of energy are natural energy sources which are present only in a limited quantity and are being used for a long time. So, as their name suggests, they are exhaustible in nature, as the reserves get exhausted once they are used, and they won't get replenished each and every time. So this means that the rate at which they get depleted, it is quite faster than the rate at which they are getting replenished. So some of the main examples of these conventional sources of energy include coal, petroleum, natural gas, and electricity. So most of the reserves of these conventional sources of energy are depleted to a great extent due to their continuous over exploitation, as we have been using all these resources for a long while. And normally these are formed from dead and decaying matter over hundreds, thousands, maybe of millions of years. Then comes the main topic: non-conventional sources of energy. So these are sources of energy which are renewable in nature. So as their name suggests, these sources of energy are renewable, which means that their reserves get replenished by natural processes each and every time they are getting used. So the rate at which these sources of energy get replenished is either equal to or greater than the rate at which they are getting depleted. That is the primary reason why they are called renewable sources of energy or non-conventional sources of energy. The main examples of non-conventional sources of energy include solar energy, wind energy, tidal energy, biomass, and geothermal energy. So the primary advantage of these sources of energy compared to conventional sources of energy is that they are way ahead of conventional sources of energy in terms of economic stability, and they causes less pollution. So it is one of the most urgent need of the situation to switch to these renewable sources of energy, as the conventional sources of energy are getting depleted at an exponential rate. So over the years, it's been observed that this dependence on conventional sources of energy is not a practical option for meeting the energy demands, for meeting the future energy demands, as these resources are getting overexploited, which in turn cause serious environmental damage as well as economic crisis. So the growing worldwide demand for energy and problems of scarcity and environmental impact associated with this non-conventional sources of energy are at the base of a probable energy crisis in the next maybe 2 or 3 years, or even decades, not years, maybe 2 or 3 decades. So anything can happen. Maybe the petroleum will become increasingly expensive, or even it can become scarce, while the climatic effects of massive use of all fossil fuels will then be clearly felt. Like, it can cause serious global warming, melting of glaciers, rise in temperature. So at the same time, the current nuclear installations will have reached the end of their useful life. So it's the most urgent need of the time to switch to non-conventional sources of energy for a sustainable future. Switching to non-conventional sources of energy clearly has a range of advantages compared to the traditional system of conventional sources of energy. The first one, of course, is providing easy and quick access to clean and low-cost source of energy. So in many parts of the world, renewable energy represents one of the lowest cost source of energy, and this cost even continues to decline. So first and the most obvious advantage of renewable source of energy is that it can provide easy and quick access to clean and pure source of energy. The second advantage is that it can increase energy security. So energy security is something which concerns each and every country. The evolving energy markets, geopolitical uncertainty have modified the energy security and energy infrastructure resilience to the forefront of many national security strategies. So the security of this supply is a serious cause of concern for any country, whether it is the most developed United States or even a developing country like India. So energy security is one of the main reason why renewable energy possesses a serious advantage over this traditional system of conventional sources of energy. And the next advantage is that in many cases this renewable energy can become a catalyst for regeneration of economically and socially depressed areas. For example, if a local region is selected as the focal point for the development of a plant, then obviously many job opportunities will be created over there, and the local workforce is the ones who benefits from these job opportunities, as many of them might be unemployed. So with this opportunity they can find an employment. So as a result of this, the economic stability can be increased. So that is another obvious advantage, which states that renewable energy source can be the focal point for economic development for many regions. So this renewable energy source investment creates a significant number of new jobs, especially at local levels, which is a huge economic benefit for many countries which are still in the developing phase, and many countries which are not yet developed. And the exploitation of this renewable energy is widely accepted by the general public due to reasons which are obvious, such as the environment friendly nature of these sources, and of course the human friendly nature. So a huge number of people die each and every year due to the pollution which is caused as a result of the over exploitation of conventional sources of energy. So maybe it can be the burning of fossil fuels or any other form. So switching to this renewable energy source can be a solution, possible solution for all these problems. So overall it can significantly increase the standard of living of people. So it is one of the most urgent need of the situation to change from conventional to renewable sources of energy. So as a part of our assignment, we have done a survey, and the result of the survey are quite obvious, and it is not surprising because about 80% of the people are concerned about the present trend of energy consumption, which is absolutely a very good sign. So however, we need to make sure that each and every individual is concerned about this environmental degradation caused as a result of the overusage of conventional sources of energy. For this, people need to be educated. They need to be made aware of the present scenario and its future impacts, which may be much worse compared to the present situation. So a possible solution for this would be conducting a public awareness program or even an education drive, which may be focused on the younger generation, especially on children. So if we can educate them starting from the root level, then it can be a possible solution for all these difficulties. And it sounds quite difficult to achieve, but with the support of the concerned authorities, it is an issue which can be addressed to a great extent. So
So many new technologies have been developed based on renewable energy sources, and some technologies are still under development. So some of the most relevant technologies which are still under development include: the first one is cellulosic ethanol. It is also called second generation biofuel, which is manufactured by converting vegetation which is unsuitable for the human consumption into ethyl alcohol or ethanol. Whereas the first generation biofuels are edible feedstock such as corn or maize. So this cellulosic ethanol can be produced by using raw materials such as wood, grass, or non-edible plant parts. So all biofuels are renewable, but cellulosic ethanol has a lesser impact on the food chain than the first generation biofuels, because it can be produced from agricultural waste products or even from energy crops grown on land that are only marginally useful for food production. The next major technology under development is hot dry rock. So hot dry rock is an abundant source of geothermal energy which is available for use. So a vast store of thermal energy is contained within the hot but essentially dry, impervious crystalline basement rocks found almost everywhere deep down the Earth's surface. So some concepts have been already developed to tackle the issue of making use of this energy found deep down their surface. So it's going to be a huge application in terms of the way we can utilize the available geothermal energy. So the next major technology which is under development is marine energy. Marine energy is also sometimes referred to as ocean energy. It is referred to the energy carried by ocean waves, tides, salinity, and ocean temperature differences. So the movement of the water in the world's ocean creates a vast store of kinetic energy, or energy in motion. So this energy can be harnessed to generate electricity to power homes, transport, and industries. So the term marine energy encompasses both wave power, which is the power from the surface waves, and tidal power, which is the power obtained from the kinetic energy of large bodies of moving water. So reverse electrodialysis, or RED, is a common technology for generating electricity by moving fresh river water waves and salty seawater waves in large power cells designated for this purpose. So that's all about some of the most promising emerging technologies based on renewable energy sources. Concluding, it can be said that there is no ambiguity that the energy crisis that's the world gonna face in maybe the next few years or in the near future is absolutely as a result of the over exploitation of non-renewable sources of energy. So one of the best possible alternative, no doubt, is switching to renewable sources of energy. So it is always better to be late than never. So let's go green and let's be smart.